The first light of dawn touches the wilderness like a whispered promise. In the golden mist of morning, life begins again, fragile, pure, and full of questions the wind can't answer. Across the vast plains, jungles, and shimmering coastlines of our planet, millions of tiny hearts beat for the very first time. The world of baby animals is one of endless discovery, where every sunrise carries both danger and hope, and every heartbeat writes a new story in the great circle of life. In the heart of the African savanna, a baby elephant struggles to its feet. Its skin is wrinkled and gray, still wet from birth, glistening in the soft light. Around it, the herd forms a protective ring, mothers, sisters, aunts, trumpeting softly, encouraging the newborn to stand. The calf wobbles, legs trembling like reeds in the wind, then stumbles forward, collapsing into the warm dust. Again it tries. This time, its trunk lifts uncertainly, swinging through the air as if testing its purpose. Finally it stands, small, unsteady but alive. The matriarch touches the baby's back with her trunk, a gesture older than time itself. The first steps of a life have begun. Far away, in the dense emerald forest of Borneo, a baby orangutan clings to its mother. The trees here are ancient, their crowns lost in a green haze of mist and sunlight. The mother moves with quiet grace, her long orange fur glinting like fire among the leaves. Her child's tiny fingers curl into her fur, trusting completely in her strength. For the next 8 years, this bond will define its world. The baby will learn where to find fruit, how to weave nests from branches, how to swing through the canopy without falling. But for now, it only knows the rhythm of her heartbeat and the soft creaking of trees as the jungle wakes. In the Arctic tundra, where cold wind sweeps over endless white, a polar bear cub stirs in its den. The warmth of its mother's body is the only world it knows. Outside, the temperature is fierce, minus 40 degrees. But inside the snow cave, life grows. The cub, blind and tiny, nestles closer, breathing in the scent of milk and safety. Months later, when the snow melts and the den opens, it will take its first steps onto ice, its paws pressing into the soft crust of snow, its eyes wide to a blinding world of light. For now, its world is heartbeat and silence, the simple pulse of survival in a frozen wilderness. Back in the forests of South America, a tiny poison dart frog guards its children, 1,000 glistening eggs laid on a leaf. When the eggs hatch, he carries each tadpole, one by one, upon his back, climbing high into the canopy to find a safe pool of rainwater inside a bromeliad flower. Each tadpole lives alone in its tiny pool, growing slowly into a frog, never knowing the father who carried it there. For the poison dart frog, this is devotion, delicate, precise, and brave. In this world of predators and storms, even the smallest life is defended with all apparent strength. The coral reefs awaken with the sun. Beneath waves of turquoise, a cloud of baby clownfish emerges from their eggs. Their world is dazzling. Forests of coral, glowing with life and color. Tiny fins flicker like sparks of light as they explore the sea anemone that will become their home. They dart between its waving tentacles, immune to the sting that would harm others. The ocean hums with invisible energy, currents, whispers, heartbeats, carrying these fragile creatures into the vast unknown. Some will survive, most will not, but those who do will grow to dance among the corals, shimmering like orange fire in the blue. Even the deserts, dry and harsh, cradle their young. In the Namib, where dunes glow red under morning sun, a baby meerkat blinks in the sand. Its eyes open for first time, revealing a world of endless gold. Around it, its family stands watch, tails upright, scanning for danger. Every movement in the air, every shadow on the ground, could mean life or death. The adults teach the pups how to dig, how to find insects, how to listen to the earth. Soon, the baby will stand on its hind legs, mimicking the watchful stance of its elders, a tiny guardian of its sunlit kingdom. On a quiet riverbank in Canada, a family of beavers works tirelessly. 2 newborn kits squeak softly in their lodge, their fur still damp, their eyes half closed. The parents bring branches and mud, strengthening the dam that holds back the water. Each stick, each piece of bark, is placed with care. For the beavers, safety is a structure built with love and instinct. The kits, for now, float in the still water of their den, feeling the current's pulse. Someday they will learn to fell trees with their teeth, to shape rivers, to change the world itself. But today, they dream in the warmth of the family they've been born into. Across continents, across oceans, across every biome the earth holds, baby animals begin their journeys. They do not know fear, only curiosity. They do not know the word life. Yet they embody its purest form. Their cries, their first breaths, their uncertain steps, all echo through time, through soil, through water and wind. They remind the world that even in struggle, beauty thrives. Every living thing begins with the same spark, a will to see, to breathe, to survive. As the sun rises higher, the planet hums with the music of beginnings. The baby elephant nuzzles its mother's side. The orangutan drifts to sleep in her mother's arms. The polar bear cub stretches in its snow cradle. The clownfish shimmer like tiny jewels beneath the sea. Life is not quiet. It sings in the rustle of leaves, the whisper of waves, the hum of wings. And in that song lies the promise of tomorrow, that no matter how vast or harsh the world may be, somewhere a small heart beats against all odds, carrying forward the miracle of being alive. The first steps are always uncertain, a trembling balance between fear and wonder. For every baby animal, the wild is both a playground and a battlefield, filled with lessons written in scent, shadow, and sound. The air carries stories, the rustle that means danger, the scent that means home, the echo that means food. As the sun climbs higher, the newborns of the world rise from the shelter of safety and begin their first explorations into the untamed, dazzling chaos of life beyond the nest. In the savanna, the baby elephant from the dawn has already begun to follow its mother across the grasslands. The calves' small feet raise puffs of dust with every step as it trails behind the herd. Each movement is a lesson. Its mother stops to strip bark from an acacia tree. The calf mimics her, wrapping its clumsy trunk around a branch and tugging. The branch doesn't budge, but the attempt is what matters. When a bird cries above, the herd pauses, listening, teaching the calf to read the language of alarm and silence. Later, when the group reaches a watering hole, the calf splashes into the cool shallows, trumpeting in joy. The older elephants stand guard, their shadows stretching long and protective. For the young one, this moment is pure discovery. The touch of water, the scent of earth, the sound of belonging. Deep in the Borneo rainforest, the baby orangutan takes its first journey away from a nest. Its mother swings gracefully through the trees, her powerful arms spanning the green void between branches. The baby clings tightly to her belly, squealing softly as the jungle blurs beneath them. When they reach a fruiting fig tree, she stops, gently encouraging the little one to reach for the fruit itself. The baby hesitates, then stretches out a trembling hand, grasping a fig that's almost too big to hold. It bites into the sweetness and blinks in surprise. The first taste of independence. The mother watches silently, her eyes full of quiet pride. Overhead, sunlight breaks through the leaves, scattering golden dust across their fur. Life here is both teacher and reward. Far north, where ice meets sky, the polar bear cub takes its first steps outside the den. The blinding white world stretches endlessly, a frozen ocean of silence and light. Its paws sink slightly into the snow as it follows its mother. Each step is cautious, hesitant, yet full of courage. The air is sharp with salt and wind. Seals wait somewhere beneath the ice, and the mother knows she must teach her cub how to hunt, how to survive the melting seasons. The cub tumbles and slides, sneezing as snow fills its nose, then races forward again. It doesn't yet understand hunger, nor the fragile balance that the Arctic demands. But in its joyful play, strength is growing, strength that one day will decide whether it lives or dies in a changing world. In the coral reefs below the Pacific Sun, the young clownfish begin to explore farther from the anemone. Their small bodies gleam orange and white, flickering like fire through the blue water. They dart between corals, learning the safe distances, testing their speed against the currents. Predators lurk everywhere, lionfish, eels, and lurking shadows that blend into the reef. Yet curiosity drives them on. One clownfish pauses near a sea fan, its eyes reflecting the colors of a living rainbow. The reef hums with energy, shrimp cleaning coral, parrotfish grinding rock into sand, turtles gliding like ancient spirits. Every inch of this underwater city is alive, and every creature plays its part. For the young fish, survival is not a battle but a dance, a rhythm learned in motion, in instinct, in trust that the sea will teach without mercy. Back on the savanna, another young life stumbles into awareness. A lion cub, golden as the grass around it, blinks at the world from the shade of a thorn bush. Its mother lies nearby, her body rising and falling in slow breaths. The cub paws at her tail, biting and tumbling, unaware of the predator it will one day become. Its siblings join in, wrestling in the dust, practicing moves that mirror the hunts of the future. The mother lifts her head, amber eyes glowing in the sun, and with a low rumble calls them close. They press against her side, purring softly. This, too, is the beginning, not of strength but of trust. For every predator, before it learns to hunt, it must first learn to love. In the wetland of South America, a family of capybaras moves through shallow water, their babies paddling behind like tiny, furry boats. The pups chirp and whistle to one another, their voices high and curious. They nibble at reeds, roll in mud, and hide between their mother's legs when a caiman slides silently by. Every sound, the buzz of insects, the croak of frogs, is part of their growing awareness. They will soon learn to dive at the first sign of danger, to stay beneath the surface where the water hides them. But for now, they are clumsy explorers, learning the rhythm of the marsh through play. In the mountains of China, a baby panda takes its first wobbly climb. The bamboo forest sways gently in the mist as it clutches a stalk, determined but unsteady. Its mother sits nearby, munching calmly on leaves, pretending not to watch, but every movement of her cub's paws catches her eye. The baby slips, tumbles backward, rolls into the grass, and then squeals indignantly. The mother chuckles in a deep rumble, pulling it close for a comforting hug. The cub buries its face in her fur, finding warmth and reassurance. In these small lessons, balance, trust, and resilience, the panda learns not just how to live, but how to fall and rise again. As dusk approaches, the wilderness changes tone. The sunlight fades, and the first cool shadows stretch across the earth. The baby animals, exhausted from their adventures, return to the comfort of their mothers. The elephant calf nestles beneath the stars, its mother's trunk draped gently over it like a blanket. The orangutan curls in her leafy nest, her child pressed to her chest. The polar bear cub yawns in the glow of the northern twilight, the world outside now a blur of snow and dream. Across the planet, night begins to hum, the sound of crickets, frogs, waves, and heartbeats merging into one vast lullaby. The first steps into the wild have been taken. Mistakes have been made, lessons learned, fears faced. The young ones sleep, but the world does not. It watches over them, whispering secrets in the wind, cradling their fragile lives in its infinite arms. And as the stars bloom above, the earth holds its breath. For every beginning in nature is a fragile miracle, and every small step taken today carries the promise of survival tomorrow. The wild is a teacher with no mercy and no second chances. For every young animal born beneath the sun, learning to survive is not a choice. It is the only truth written into their blood. The first days of play and discovery fade into sharper instincts as hunger, danger, and change begin to shape their world. The lessons of survival are carved not in words but in scars and reflexes, in the rhythm of fear and courage that beats within every small heart. In the golden plains of Africa, the elephant calf learns the rules of the herd. Each step the matriarch takes carries wisdom passed down through centuries. The baby follows, memorizing the sense of the watering holes, the taste of fresh bark, and the deep rumbles that roll through the ground like thunder, messages only elephants understand. One day, a shadow moves on the horizon. Lions. The adults form a wall instantly, tusks glinting, bodies pressing close together. The calf feels a vibration of alarm before it understands the meaning. The lions circle, eyes flickering in the heat haze, but the herd stands unmoving, massive, and unbreakable. After tense minutes, the predators turn away. The baby trunk touches its mother's leg, trembling, as if asking what had just happened. The answer is simple. This is the way of the wild. To stay together is to live. High in the rainforest canopy, the baby orangutan's world changes with every gust of wind. The forest floor is a world it has never touched, full of dangers hidden beneath the green. The young one practices swinging from vine to vine, sometimes clumsy, sometimes bold, testing strength and courage. One day, a storm brews, thunder cracks across the mountains, and rain begins to fall in silver sheets. The branches sway, slippery and uncertain. The baby loses grip and slides down several feet, crying out. Before panic can rise, its mother's arm sweeps through the air, strong and steady, catching it mid-fall. She pulls it close, sheltering it against her chest as the rain drums above. In her calm embrace, the lesson is learned. Even the strongest must know when to hold on and when to let go. Far across the ice, the polar bear cub faces its first hunt. The mother sniffs the wind, her black nose twitching, tracing the faint scent of seal through miles of frozen silence. She motions the cub to stay low. Together, they move, one slow step at a time, across the snowfield. The cub's paws, wide and padded, press silently into the surface. It doesn't yet understand what they are doing, only that silence means importance. The mother stops near a breathing hole, her body still as carved ice. Minutes pass. The cub's ears flick nervously. Then movement. A seal surfaces, unaware. The mother strikes, lightning fast. The seal disappears, but the cub's eyes widen, its instincts awakening. There will be hunger and failure before it learns the rhythm of the hunt. But in this moment, it understands that survival comes to those who wait, who listen, and who learn from the stillness of the snow. In the warm shallows of the Pacific, the young clownfish begin to face the ocean's truth. Beauty hides danger. A shadow glides above, a sleek barracuda. The clownfish freeze, pressing deep into the tentacles of their anemone home. The predator circles once, then vanishes into blue. The little ones emerge, hearts pounding, fins quivering. It's the first time they've felt fear, and it teaches them something no parent could say. The sea reward the brave, but only the careful survive. From that day, they move differently, faster, smarter, attuned to every flicker of motion in the water. On the savanna, the lion cubs begin to learn their own lessons, ones written in claw and fang. The mother lioness returns from the hunt, her fur stained with dust and triumph. She drops a piece of meat before her cubs. They sniff, nudge, and finally bite. It's the taste of life taken and given. Days later, they follow her through tall grass as she stalks a herd of impalas. The cubs crouch clumsily, mimicking her every move. When she springs, they do too, though their leaps fall short. The impalas scatter in flashes of tan and white, the cubs panting and confused. The mother growls softly, not in anger, but in teaching. She lets them chase a grasshopper next, laughing in her own way as they tumble over each other in joy. For the lion cub, survival begins with failure, and every failure is a rehearsal for the future. Deep in the wetlands, the baby capybaras are learning about danger, too. One bright morning, while they nibble at reeds, a ripple disturbs the calm surface of the water. A caiman's eyes appear, two cold amber marbles above the ripples. Instinct takes over. The mother gives a sharp bark, and in a flash, the pups dive. Beneath the water, the world becomes silent, green, and safe. They stay there for long seconds, lungs burning, until the danger passes. When they surface again, the air smells different, sharper, realer. The pups understand now. Stillness is safety. They no longer drift aimlessly. They swim with purpose. High in the mountains, the panda cub continues its gentle education. The forest is a place of quiet mysteries. Every rustle, every scent a message. One afternoon, it follows a butterfly, waddling through ferns, entranced by the flicker of orange wings. It doesn't notice the steep slope ahead until the ground vanishes beneath its paws. The cub tumbles, rolls, and lands in a pile of bamboo leaves. The shock lasts a moment. Then it looks up, blinking, surprised but unhurt. Its mother appears at the ridge, watching silently. When she sees it stand, shake itself, and start climbing back up, she does not interfere. The forest has taught her cub something she never could. The fall is natural, to rise is strength. Across continents, these young hearts are learning the rules that will define their lives. To move quietly, to sense danger, to seek shelter and food, to trust the lessons written in instinct, in muscle, in breath. The world is no longer soft and golden. It is sharp, unpredictable, alive. And yet, even mid fear, there is wonder. The elephant calf learns to trumpet with joy after every storm. The polar bear cub learns the beauty of snowflakes melting on its fur. The lion cubs learn to purr after their hunts, their small bodies vibrating with the rhythm of pride and belonging. When night falls again, the stars reflect in every drop of dew, in every ripple of ocean, in every newborn eye still open to the dark. The lessons of survival are hard, but they are sacred. Life, in all its forms, finds a way to endure, through hunger, fear, and loss, and keep moving forward. For in the heart of every creature, big or small, beats the same silent vow whispered since the beginning of time: I will live. Family is the first language of life, older than words, older than memory. It is spoken through touches, glances, calls, and instincts woven deep into the fabric of survival. In the wild, family is not just comfort. It is a thread that holds existence together. From the frozen tundra to the tropical forest, young animals begin to understand that love and loyalty are as vital as food and shelter. Their first bond, to mother, to sibling, to group, becomes the foundation of everything they are destined to be. In the African savanna, the elephant calf now walks confidently among its herd. What began as a struggle for balance has become a graceful rhythm of life. The herd moves together like one giant heartbeat, each elephant aware of the other's presence, their footsteps forming a song that only they can hear. The calf, still smaller than its mother's shoulder, reaches its trunk toward other young ones. They intertwine their trunks playfully, squealing with laughter like trumpets, running in dusty circles until the elders call them back. When one of them stumbles, another helps it rise. When the herd drinks at the waterhole, they do so side by side, each taking turns. The calf begins to sense something profound. That strength does not come from size or tusks, but from togetherness. The herd is more than a group. It is a living memory, carrying the wisdom of ancestors in every step. In the green heart of Borneo, the baby orangutan's world is shaped by its mother's love, a connection that feels eternal. They are rarely apart, moving together through the treetops, a silent duet of grace and dependence. The mother teaches by example, how to choose the ripest fruit, how to build a nest high in the canopy, how to recognize the call of an approaching storm. Yet beyond these lessons, she teaches something deeper: trust. When she reaches out her hand, the baby takes it without hesitation. That trust becomes the bridge between fear and freedom. As the young orangutan grows braver, it begins to explore small branches on its own, swinging clumsily through the leaves. The mother watches from a distance, heart steady but alert. For her, letting go is the hardest act of love, and for the child, learning to return is the sweetest. Across the frozen Arctic, the polar bear cub huddles beside its mother as snow falls in whispering veils. The days are long, the nights endless, but within the circle of their shared warmth, time feels soft and slow. The cub presses its nose into her fur, inhaling the scent of safety. When the mother catches a seal, she always leaves the first bite for the cub, a gesture both tender and fierce. There are no words here, no language of comfort beyond the body's closeness. The cub begins to mimic her movements, rolling in the snow, sniffing the wind, paw the air as if already practicing the hunt. When storms rage and the world disappears in white, the two remain wrapped together, eyes half closed, surviving through faith in one another's presence. In that simple touch lies the oldest truth of the North. Love is warmth, and warmth is life. Under the surface of the Pacific Ocean, the young clownfish learn that family is not always defined by blood. Within their sea anemone home, dozens of tiny fish coexist in harmony, sharing food, space, and safety. The anemone's tentacles wave like ribbons, sheltering them from the predators that roam the reef. When danger nears, they move as one, a flashing, swirling cloud of orange and white, retreating deep into the folds of their protector. The smallest learn from the largest, and in return, the largest defend them. It is a system as delicate as coral, as efficient as a heartbeat. Together, they are stronger than they could ever be alone. Their unity is survival painted in color and motion. In the golden grasslands, the lion cubs are learning their own lessons about family, lessons born in the pride. Their world is full of games, but beneath the playful pounces and mock battles, deep bonds are forming. The cubs tumble over each other, biting ears and swatting tails, learning how to fight without hurting. When danger approaches, a hyena prowling too close, their mothers rise in silent formation, eyes burning with warning. The cubs huddle between them, trembling yet safe. Later, when the pride rests beneath the acacia shade, one cub nestles its head against another's neck, the rhythmic rise and fall of breathing sinking like a lullaby. Here, love is both fierce and soft, a blend of protection and play that will one day shape kings and hunters. On the riverbanks of the Amazon, the capybara pups follow their mother through shallow waters. Their small, webbed feet create ripples that glimmer under the sun. When one pup lags behind, squeaking anxiously, the mother pauses, turns, and gently nudges it forward. The family moves as a single current, never leaving one behind. At night, they rest close together in the tall grass, the sound of the river whispering nearby. Predators may stalk them, jaguars, anacondas, caimans, but as long as they are together, they stand a chance. Their bond is quiet but unbreakable, built not on might but on faith that they will always return to each other. High in the misty bamboo forest, the panda cub discovers affection in its purest form. Its mother is patient and endlessly gentle. She rolls on her back, letting the cub crawl over her belly, nipping playfully at its paws. When it tumbles into a patch of snow, she waddles over, scoops it up, and holds it close until it stops crying. The cub's world is small, just bamboo, wind, and her, but within that smallness lies perfection. It doesn't yet understand loneliness or danger. All it knows is the warmth of fur, the rhythm of her heartbeat, and the safety of her arms. For the panda, love is not just an emotion. It is the air it breathes. Even in places where survival demands independence, connection finds a way. In the coral reef, in the tundra, in the canopy and savanna, invisible threads weave every creature into something greater than itself. The young learn through imitation, affection, and touch. They begin to understand that no creature truly stands alone, that the wild itself is a family, vast and eternal. As the sun sets and the world begins to hush, the baby animals rest within their families. The elephant calf leans against its mother's side, eyes closing under a violet sky. The lion cubs pile into a golden heap, tails tangled, breathing as one. The orangutan curls into her mother's fur, rocked by the wind. The polar bear cub dreams of snowflakes and stars. All around the earth, in the silence between heartbeats, the wild hums with love, unspoken, unseen, but infinite. In the end, these bonds are what keep life turning. They remind the world that strength without kindness is hollow, and survival without love is incomplete. For every animal that learns to trust, to care, to share warmth beneath the same sky, the planet itself grows softer, a little more alive, a little more beautiful, under the watchful eyes of family. Adventure begins quietly, a whisper in the wind, a shimmer beyond the horizon, a hunger that rises in the hearts of the young. The first weeks of life were for learning, and the first months for safety, but now comes a time of movement, of stepping beyond the boundaries that once felt like the entire world. The wild calls to its children, not with words, but with scents carried on a breeze, with mysteries hidden behind every hill and ripple of water. For the young animals growing stronger each day, curiosity is no longer something to fear. It is the pulse that drives them to discover who they truly are. In the African savanna, the young elephant stands taller now, its once wobbly legs firm and sure. It has memorized the paths to the river and the rhythm of the herd. But something new stirs in its mind, a longing to see what lies beyond the known trails. When the herd begins to move toward distant hills, the calf lingers for a moment, trunk lifted high, tasting the air. The wind carries scents it has never known. Rain, acacia, the faint musk of wildebeest. Its mother calls softly, and it runs to catch up, but in its eyes burns a new spark. The calf will one day become a traveler of vast distances, guided by memory, weather, and stars. For now, it learns that every great journey begins with a single step, and that the world is far larger than it ever imagined. In the rainforest of Borneo, the young orangutan grows more daring. What once felt high and dangerous is now a playground of endless possibility. It swings through the canopy with unsteady confidence, each leap a test of courage. Sometimes it ventures farther than its mother allows, drawn by flashes of color, a hornbill gliding to the trees, a cascade of orchids blooming after the rain. One morning, it discovers something entirely new, another young orangutan from a neighboring family. They approach slowly, curious but cautious. Then, with a shared spark of trust, they begin to play, a silent dance of hanging, tumbling, and mimicry. For the first time, the baby learns what friendship feels like beyond the comfort of its mother's arms. Beneath the dripping leaves, laughter echoes, soft, wild, and free, as the forest becomes a theater of youth and discovery. Across the Arctic ice, the polar bear cub faces a new kind of adventure: distance. The days grow longer, the sun circling but never setting, and the frozen world begins to melt into shimmering pools. The cub follows its mother across stretches of broken ice, jumping from floe to floe. Each leap is a small act of courage. Sometimes the gap is too wide, and the cub hesitates, whimpering as the sea below gurgles darkly. The mother turns, gives a low growl, not scolding but encouraging. The cub closes its eyes and leaps. Cold water splashes its fur, but strong paws pull up again. The lesson is clear. The Arctic never stands still, and neither must those who live upon it. The cub learns a rhythm of change, that every path will melt and every journey demands adaptation. It grows with the moving ice, and in doing so, learns to trust its own strength. Beneath the waves of the Pacific, the young clownfish are beginning to wander beyond the anemone. They no longer hide as they once did. Instead, they dart boldly into open water, chasing tiny plankton and beams of sunlight. One clownfish ventures farther than the rest, mesmerized by a drifting jellyfish. It swims too close. A tendril grazes its fin, sending a jolt of pain through its tiny body. The fish darts back, trembling but alive. The others crowd around it, curious. The sea is a magnificent teacher, but a cruel one too. The clownfish learns that beauty often comes with danger, and exploration carries both reward and risk. Still, when dawn returns, it swims out again, wiser now, yet undaunted. In its bravery, it becomes a symbol of life's unending urge to reach for more. On the open plains, the lion cubs are growing restless. Their world once ended at the edge of their mother's territory, but now they crave more. They stalk birds in the tall grass, chase shadows, and climb termite mounds to watch herds move in the distance. Their paws are still soft, their claws small, but their hearts thrum with ambition. One evening, as the sky blazes orange, a cub strays too far. The air smells of dust and danger. A lone hyena prowls near. The cub freezes, every instinct screaming to run. Before it can, its mother appears like lightning, her roar splitting the air. The hyena flees, and the cub collapses against her leg, trembling. She doesn't scold. She only nudges it gently, leading it back to safety. The adventure nearly became tragedy, but also carved a lesson deep within the cub's heart. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the strength to return home after facing it. In the wetlands of South America, the capybara pups have begun to explore the vast maze of waterways. They paddle downstream, following the currents that twist through reeds and lilies. The world grows bigger with every bend in the river. Dragonflies hover above, flashing blue and gold. Turtles bask on logs, watching silently as the pups pass by. One of them, bolder than the rest, swims out into deeper water, where the current tugs stronger. Its small body struggles, but then the mother appears, guiding it back to the calm shallows. The river is both friend and foe, gentle when respected, unforgiving when ignored. As the capybara family settles on the bank, the pups nuzzle together, eyes bright with wonder. Tomorrow, they will swim again, for adventure in the wild is not quenched by fear. It is fueled by it. High among China's misty mountains, The panda cub experiences its first snowfall. White flakes tumble through the bamboo forest, transforming the familiar world into a shimmering dream. The cub stares in astonishment as snow lands on its nose. Then, with pure delight, it rolls and tumbles, sending clouds of powder into the air. The mother watches, amused, before joining in, two black and white shapes against a sea of silver. For the panda cub, this is more than play. It is a first understanding of change, of seasons, of wonder and impermanence. The forest never stays the same, and neither will it. But in every falling snowflake, the cub feels a thrill of possibility. As dusk paints the world in gold and violet, these young hearts, elephant, orangutan, polar bear, clownfish, lion, capybara, panda, each carry the same spark, curiosity. They have begun to step beyond the known and embrace the mystery that defines their existence. Adventure, they learn, is not about leaving safety behind. It's about trusting life enough to explore it. In the fading light, the savanna hums, the jungle breathes, the ice sighs, and the sea glows. Everywhere, young voices echo, trumpets, roars, chirps, songs, merging into one grand chorus of life's endless courage. For the call of adventure is not only a sound of movement, it is a heartbeat of the earth itself, urging every creature, great or small, to step forward and become more than it was yesterday. The world, though beautiful, has never promised to be kind. For every sunrise that paints the wild in gold, there is a storm waiting beyond the horizon. The young of every species soon learn this truth, that nature gives and takes in equal measure, and every life, no matter how small or mighty, must earn its place in the eternal circle. These are the first trials, the moments that test the courage born in innocence. Far across the African plains, thunder rolls. Dark clouds gather above the savanna, and the scent of rain thickens the air. The elephant calf, once fearless in sunlight, now trembles as lightning splits the sky. The herd tightens, mothers circling their young, their ears spread wide against the wind. The storm is merciless. Rain lashes the earth, rivers flood, and the ground turns to trembling mud. The calf slips, trumpeting in fear. But its mother is there, wrapping her trunk around her child, guiding it to the shelter of an acacia tree. For hours they endure, soaked and shivering, until dawn breaks clear and calm. When the light returns, the world smells new. Wet grass, cool air, the promise of survival. The calf steps into the rising mist, stronger for having faced the fury. It has learned what every creature must, that strength is not given. It is forged in the storm. In the dense canopy of Borneo, the orangutan infant meets a trial of silence. The mother has grown thin. The fruiting season has ended. Hunger spreads through the jungle like a ghost. For days, the mother searches, her hands moving through endless leaves, but the trees are bare. The infant clings weakly to her fur, eyes dim. The once playful world has become still. Then, as the sun pierces a canopy, she finds what she sought, a hidden fig tree bursting with ripe fruit. She feeds first her child, pressing sweet pulp to its lips before eating herself. Life returns to the infant's eyes, and as it gazes up to the green light, it learns a truth more sacred than play, that survival often depends on sacrifice, and that love in the wild is both fierce and quiet. Far to the north, the polar bear cub faces its own enemy. Hunger stretched thin across endless white. The ice that once supported seals begins to fracture early this year. The mother searches for prey, her paws leaving long tracks across melting floes. The cub follows, exhausted. For days they find nothing, until the mother spots a seal's breathing hole. Silence falls. The cub watches as she waits, still as ice itself. Then, in a flash, she strikes, dragging the prey from the hole in a surge of power. She eats little, pushing the meat toward her cub. The cub feasts, unaware that this is her gift, her cost of endurance. In the Arctic, every meal is a battle, every heartbeat a fragile triumph. As the cub curls beside her that night, its fur against hers, it dreams not of warmth, but survival, a lesson carved deep into its young bones. In the coral sea, the clownfish faces a predator's shadow. A moray eel slithers to the reef, its mouth gaping in slow, deliberate rhythm. The young clownfish freeze, their bright orange bodies trembling in the current. One of them, the same daring explorer from before, hides behind a sea fan, its heart pounding like the waves above. The eel draws closer, every flick of its tail silent as death. Then, from the corner of the reef, a larger clownfish darts forward, flashing its colors in defiance. It distracts the predator long enough for the young to dart back into the safety of their anemone. The eel strikes but misses, retreating into the shadows. In that moment, the reef exhales. The young fish have witnessed both terror and bravery, learning that even in the smallest hearts, there can dwell a courage vast enough to challenge the sea itself. In the African grasslands, the lion cub's play turns suddenly real. The pride moves through golden grass, bellies empty, searching for prey. The cubs trail behind, practicing stalks and pounces in imitation of their mother. Then the wind shifts, zebras nearby catch their scent, and chaos erupts. The adults sprint forward, muscles rippling, but the cubs are left behind in confusion. A stampede surges through the grass like a black wave. One cub stumbles, the ground shaking beneath its paws. For a breathless moment, it's surrounded by pounding hooves and flying dust. Then, miraculously, the herd veers, the earth stills. The mother finds her cub trembling and licks its face clean of mud. It will not forget the sound of thunder made by hooves, the reminder that life here balances always on a knife's edge between predator and prey. In the wetlands, the capybara pups face their first flood. Heavy rains turn rivers into roaring beasts. The calm waters that once cradled them now surge with power, sweeping reeds and branches in violent motion. The family scrambles for higher ground, paddling furiously. A pup is caught in the current, spinning helplessly. The mother dives, powerful and swift, catching it between her teeth. She hauls at the shore, both gasping, eyes wide. Around them, the rain softens, the danger passes. The pup clings to her, shivering. It has faced death and lived, and with that comes a strange understanding that life's beauty is inseparable from its peril. The same water that nurtures also tests, reminding every creature that survival is a sacred privilege. High in the misted mountains, the panda cub faces not a predator or storm, but the loneliness of separation. Its mother has gone searching for bamboo shoots, and snow begins to fall. The cub waits under a tree, its black and white fur dusted in white. Hours pass. The world grows colder. It cries out, a small, plaintive sound swallowed by silence. When its mother finally returns, pushing through the snow-laden bamboo, she finds it curled up, weak but alive. She wraps her body around it, warming it with her breath. The cub's small eyes flutter open, finding safety again. That night, nestled in the warmth of her fur, it learns that love, even in the wilderness, is a shield stronger than any shelter of stone. The trials pass, but their marks remain, invisible scars that shape the young into the future rulers, survivors, and caretakers of their world. Across every continent, the message is the same. The wild is both teacher and test, ruthless and redemptive. The baby animals, once innocent wanderers, have met the edges of life and learned what it means to endure. As the storms fade and stars return to sky, the earth breathes again. Rivers gleam under the moon, forests drip with reborn life, and the air hums with the pulse of resilience. Each creature, from the smallest fish to the mightiest elephant, has faced a storm and found strength within its fragility. For in nature's trials are the first true lessons of existence. That pain sharpens wisdom, loss awakens gratitude, and survival, above all, is the most sacred song ever sung beneath the endless sky. Every world has its language, the silent grammar of wind, the rhythm of rain, the song of life written not in words but in movement, color, and sound. For the young animals of Earth, communication is the bridge between fear and belonging, between solitude and unity. Now, as they grow past the fragile days of first breath and first fear, they begin to discover their voices, each one distinct, shaped by environment and instinct, carrying emotion more powerful than any human speech. In the golden savanna, the young elephant calf lifts its trunk and trumpets for the first time. The sound is clumsy, high-pitched, almost like laughter. Around it, the herd responds, deep, resonant calls that roll across the plains like thunder softened by love. The vibrations pass through the ground, reaching even those far away. It is more than a greeting. It is a conversation across distance and time. The calf's mother answers gently, and the calf's small heart swells with pride. It learns that to speak is also to be heard, that every call, every rumble beneath the feet, keeps the family together in a world too vast for sight alone. The herd moves on, their low songs mingling with the rustle of grass and the hush of distant rain. In the shadowy rainforest of Borneo, sound is a living thing. It hums and echoes, weaving between leaves and branches. The young orangutan, now confident in its leaps, begins to mimic the forest itself. It copies the calls of gibbons, the croak of frogs, even the rustling sighs of falling fruit. Its mother watches patiently, smiling in her quiet, human-like way. Then, when danger stirs a rustle too low, too close, she releases a sharp, guttural sound, a warning. The infant freezes instantly. Moments later, a python's coils slide across the branch below. Silence falls, except for the heartbeat of rain. The mother touches her child's head softly. The message is wordless, but clear. Sound can save just as silence can protect. And so, the infant learns that language in the jungle is not just spoken. It is felt through the very pulse of the forest. On the frozen tundra, the polar bear cub has begun to hum. Softly at first, a throaty vibration as it rests against its mother. These hums, scientists say, are the earliest songs of connection. They carry comfort, gratitude, and sometimes playfulness. The Arctic is quiet. Wind and snow are its instruments. When the cub calls out, its mother answers with a low rumble that seems to travel through the ice itself. There is poetry in this cold exchange, and how warmth is shared through sound alone. In the white expanse where few things grow, these small voices become the music of survival, a reminder that even silence can hold love if you listen closely enough. Beneath the ocean, where light bends like liquid glass, the clownfish community speaks in clicks and pops. The young ones have learned the rhythm. Short bursts when they're playful, long snaps when danger nears. The daring young clownfish, once struck by a jellyfish, now teaches the others how to read the current's hums. When predators approach, their synchronized clicks echo through the coral, warning every hidden shrimp and darting goby. Communication here is invisible, woven into the vibration of water itself. It's not language in a human sense. It's harmony, a pulse of shared awareness. The reef becomes a living orchestra, every creature adding its own beat to the grand symphony of the sea. In the heart of the savanna, twilight brings the first chorus of the lion cubs. Their small roars, high-pitched and uncertain, rise into the fading heat. The pride listens, some amused, others indifferent. But the lioness mother watches with eyes full of pride. The cubs' calls grow bolder, echoing off acacia trees and termite mounds, to roars to declare existence, to say, "I am here, I belong." The plains answer back with the voices of hyenas, zebras, and distant thunder. Life speaks in many tongues, and every sound, from the whisper of a breeze to the cry of a cub, adds to the story of the wild. The lion cubs, still small beneath the vast sky, practice again and again until their roars begin to blend with their mothers, one generation's voice strengthening the next.